All right, so John Oliver is seemingly out of fucks to give, and he talked about what's happening in Gaza now, and honestly, I think he did a better job than most of the people that we see in mainstream media, so let's take a look.
Nearly 500,000 people are facing famine-like conditions, and a third of the population is going days without food, and there have been similar assessments from the IPC, WHO, Doctors Without Borders, and over 100 other agencies and organisations, including Amnesty International, Christian Aid, Mercy Corps, and Oxfam. And even if you distrust the UN and those organisations, I'll point out these Israeli human rights groups have come to the same conclusion, as has Israel's oldest daily newspaper, as have multiple first-hand accounts from physicians on the ground. What's happening in Gaza right now is a famine. All the information we have points to that, except for the word of this fucking guy and a few adult junior detectives squinting at each photo of a skeletal child to figure out if they're the right kind of dying. And it's really hard not to think that the reason aid isn't getting into the people in Gaza is that Netanyahu and key people in his government don't want it to. And some have made this explicit. Back in May, his national security minister called the entrance of aid trucks into the Gaza Strip a grave mistake that delays our victory. And his finance minister has said it may be just and moral to starve Gaza until Israeli hostages are returned, but no one in the world would let us. Basically complaining that the world is cock-blocking him from committing genocide better. And that is the argument for sustained international pressure here. And the country best positioned to apply it is this one. The one that gave Israel nearly $18 billion in military aid during the first year of this war alone. Look, Gaza is starving is a sentence that's objectively true. But it's also slightly misleading because it's too passive. Gaza is being starved by Israel. And what's so frustrating is that most humanitarian disasters don't come with solutions as straightforward as this one.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. The fact of the matter is the rest of the media has failed on this front. What John Oliver is saying here is quite different from the picture that gets painted in the media. I think it was, what was it, Fairness and Accuracy in Reporting? I think or was it The Intercept? One of them released a report early on in the genocide, and it went into the language that's used when it's Israeli victims versus Palestinian victims. And when they talked about October 7th, they were willing to use words like brutal, barbaric, horrific, terrible, terrorism, like very purposeful, emotive language. That's what they did. But then when it came to all of the various illegal terrorist bombing campaigns of hospitals and schools and innocent apartment buildings with innocent people in there, they would use a passive language. They would say, like, blast in Gaza, kill 17 or something like that. It wouldn't have the same, emotional gut punch. It wouldn't be like terrorist attack, horrific, brutal. Language like that wasn't used. And that was across the board. This is just what it is. And, as soon as you see this the first time, you can't unsee it. You see it in all of the coverage. Even, we're closing in on 2 years of genocide. And even now, there's a lot of that stuff going on. I think some in the media have kind of woken up a little bit and they've taken it a little more seriously now. But there's still a lot of that whole, couch all the language when it comes to Palestinian victims. And if people were going to talk about this honestly, the comparison would be made to Israel and Nazi Germany. It just would be. It just would be. They are live streaming a genocide 24/7. They are killing massive numbers of... They said, they're on the record as saying, in the military, they go, yeah, we could kill 100, or as long as we kill 100 or fewer Palestinians per day with bombings and shootings, then we get away with it. Nobody cares, basically. And so you mix the 100 or between 70 and 100 per day that they murder when they're desperately trying to get aid, mix that with the number that are dying from starvation now daily. And the plan is right there. It's right in front of our faces. There's a reason why they said, hey, we're going to, all the human rights groups and the aid organizations, 400 spots where you can get food in Gaza, we're banning all of you from delivering food aid now, and we're going to take over. The GHF, Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Well, that's just a CIA Mossad op to help finish the ethnic cleansing. So they went from 400 places to get food to 4. And then the crowd control they do is shooting guns at these people as they try to get food and try to get water so they don't starve and die. And so this is where you get the 100 people per day that get murdered as they desperately seek aid. And then on top of that, you get the deaths from starvation. And so it's all happening right in front of our eyes, day in, day out. We know what the solution is. The solution is you tell Israel one phone call from Trump where he says, you're going to let that fucking food in and you're going to let it in now. It's over. It's done. There's nothing they could do. They know they're relying on our money. They know they're relying on our weapons. They know they need the backing of the United States of America to do fucking anything. And so if Trump were to call them up and say, you're letting in all that food and you're letting in all the aid and you're letting it in now, it would be over. It would be over immediately, but that's not happening. It's not going to happen. So instead, we sit here and we watch as innocent people starve to death and innocent people get shot on a daily basis. Don't take my word for it. You go look up Drop Site News on Twitter and you go scroll through what they say on a daily basis, and your jaw will be on the fucking ground. How, and again, the media, they don't talk about it like we've gone past the point where everything that happens in Gaza is, breaking news. Now it's like, you're lucky if you get one story a day that only tells you 1/100th the horrors that these poor people are experiencing. And what's so crazy is that, yet again, we live in a situation where fucking comedians are better at telling the truth than people on the news, or certainly than any politician in the United States of America. I mean, shit, we're still at what? We're not even at double digits of politicians in Washington that call this thing a genocide. I mean, even Bernie Sanders doesn't call it a genocide. Fucking for shame, bro. For shame on that shit. So, but John Oliver laying down the law here, and it's true. What you got to do is cut off the money to Israel, cut off the weapons to Israel, sanction them at the UN. You got to arrest the war criminals at the top, both the political leaders and the military leaders. And then look, if we're being serious, I think the Irish president is right when he says we need military intervention to stop this. We need UN forces on the ground willing to say at the barrel of a gun, you're letting in all that fucking aid and you're letting it in now. And that's just the beginning. We could have a deeper conversation about what should be done, but I don't want to get banned from YouTube. Because certain things if I say certain things now about this, what I'm feeling, I wouldn't be on this platform very long. That's for damn sure. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.